Hello there. Welcome to Facebook. So, are you a person who is interested in learning programming? Do you want to learn from the scratch? Then this is the right video for you, my friend. Did you know that C++ is still the fastest compiling language when it comes to programming languages? That is because it directly interacts with the hardwares of the computer. Learning C++ will not only lay down a strong and hard foundation for your placement, but also it'll help you ace on your journey to becoming a super programmer. So guys, welcome to the ABC series of C++ from Facebook. So as I told, we'll start from the scratch, guys, and by the end of these series, you'll be definitely in a position to code for any such platforms which require competitive coding experience or any simple or advanced coding knowledge. Right. So before that, we need to have certain basic understanding of what exactly the things are written or how exactly the things are written in C++. So I just have certain points written over here, which is very much essential for you to code even the basic of the basic code. So the first one being header file, and then we have something called as using namespace std, and then we have main, then return zero, and a c in and a c out. Right. So I'll just start with the first one. What I have on the screen, that is my header file over here. So header file is nothing but a directory, guys. So as the name says, header means it is supposed to be there, right? So if the computer is supposed to understand what it is writing the code for, or where it is supposed to take the predefined set of things from, you're supposed to tell the header names for it, right? Just like how you have the phone directory, right? You will be having a lot of numbers in the phone directory, but you'll not be having the actual person in the directory, right? So a header file is similar to a phone directory where it just allows the code to pass through it, and then fetch all the necessary information what is required for you to compile and run the things over there, right? So let me just take you across to the platform and tell you what is the main and important header file when it comes to C++. So we have a header file called as IO stream over here written, right? So now you can see hash include IO stream. So this is the name of the header file over here, guys. So IO stream means input output stream dot header dot h is obviously there for all the headers. But in the updated versions of the compilers in the C++ or any advanced other advanced languages, we do not have this .h extension. By default, the compiler will understand that it is a header file if you just give a command called as hash include, right? So we're saying that include this particular header file in your code. Okay, and hash is called as the preprocessor symbol over there. So it has the most highest priority given when it comes to coding, right? So after hash we have got include. As I told, it says the compiler that include this particular header file, and that is nothing but IO stream. And yeah, so if you do not write this particular header file, now let's just remove this particular header file and just compile and run and check what the compiler says. Yeah, so it says that something is missing. You have told include, but you have not told me what to include, right? So that's what it says over here. So let me just bring it back over here. Okay, so IO stream. So this is written. Okay, I'll not compile now, guys. Let me just explain you all the lines and then compile the code for you. So next up, what we have over here is using namespace. So using namespace is just like a container, guys. Now let's say you'll be storing a lot of things in a container, but you don't want to bulk up the program over there, right? So you don't want to dump all the things which are not required. So what you'll do is from the container, whatever is required for your code, you'll just take it out from the container and you'll use it. Okay, so that is what you have told over here. You're using namespace std means you're using a namespace or a container called as std. So the full form of this is standard. And while you're doing this, what happens is at the code the compiler passes through the header file, searches for this particular container, and fetches that particular function which is required for my code to run. Right. So that is what using namespace std does. And over here you can see, the color codes have changed. STD is given in blue, which means that it is a name of the namespace. And using namespace, it is the predefined syntax what we write while taking the namespace. And you can see I've got a semicolon over here at the end, which means that that's the end of the line. So there are certain places in programming languages where you're supposed to give semicolons, especially when it comes to C++. So please make sure you give appropriate semicolons wherever it is necessary, guys. So this is the syntax for using namespace std. All right, and then we have something called as main. So what exactly is a main? Right, so a code can have a numerous number of lines, guys. So it can vary from 5 lines of code till 200 to even 2000, sometimes more than that lines of code. So how does a compiler understand where it is supposed to start from? So obviously it cannot always start from the beginning, because in the beginning we'll be writing something like a function or a class or something, right? So it has to understand where it is supposed to start compiling from. So for a compiler to understand, it is supposed to start from this particular line. We have something called as the main method, okay, or the main function. So this main function is nothing but to tell the compiler that, okay, you're supposed to come here first, and moving forward from here, you're supposed to redirect yourself however it is required accordingly, right? So in the compiler, you can see I've written main, and as I told, main is a function, and every function will have a return type. So when it comes to functions concept, I'll be telling you in detail what exactly return types are. So I've given a return type called as integer over here. In short form, it is called as int. So this particular main function will be returning me a value that is an integer type of value. So you can see over here we have a return zero, right? So when it comes to return zero, I'll tell you what exactly it is. So for time being, you remember that we have this main line where the execution starts from after the compilation, and it returns a value when this main method ends. And you can see these brace brackets, these are the scopes of the main function, which means that this main can access the things only whichever is present inside this braces, okay, until and unless it you involve the concept of oops. Okay, these braces will hold a very important parameter when it comes to coding, because apart from these braces, okay, let me just say I remove these braces, then the main will not have any access over the other lines of the code. So let me just compile and check over here what it says. So you can see over here, it does not have any scopes, right? So it does not have any, see, you can see a main CPP error, which means that main is not able to find any code for it to run or compile, right? So that's what exactly it means, guys. So brace also plays a very important role. And next up, what we have over here is return zero, right? So as I told, return zero is nothing but a predefined thing what is given over there. But in the updated version of compilers, it is not required for you to give a return zero. As I told, main, as it is a method, it requires certain return types, and that is why we have given an integer over here. And if you have given an integer return type, which means it is supposed to return an integer value, right? So that is why we have given a return zero over here. But let's say I do not write this particular line, correct? So let me just remove this particular line. So if I run this particular code right now, it will absolutely work fine, guys. Okay, there is nothing wrong with this particular code. So I'll show you how it is working, but let me just keep it over there for time being. Okay, I'll explain you what is cout and scene, and then I'll compile and check all the errors. Right. So here we have got return zero, and I've explained you why we have written it over there. And semicolon is really important, as I told. And the last part, what we have got over here is C in and C out. Right. So we have got C in and C out over here. Now, each and every code, it has to have certain inputs and outputs, right? So if you want to take certain things in from the user, there is a predefined function called as cin. And you want to print something on the output screen, there is something called as cout. Now, let's say you want to print hello world. Okay, so hello world is a string, right? So string as in it is a set of words, right? So anything which is a set of word, you want to print it to the output screen, you'll be giving it in double quotes. So that is why we have given double quotes over here, and the semicolon at the end to tell the compiler that it is the end of the line, right? And this is the syntax of cout, guys. So cout and angular brackets, which is facing towards your right hand side, correct? So this is your cout, and cin has the same syntax, but the angular brackets are towards your left hand side. So this is the only difference between C in and C out. So in this particular code, we'll not be using C in. I'll just tell you how to print this particular line over here. So I'll be printing hello world. So let me just compile and run and check if everything is appropriate. So you can see we have got hello world over here, right? So even if you want to print anything that is related, for example, let's say even if you want to print 2020, you can print that even though it is a number. Since you have given it in double quotes, it will print exactly as it is. Okay, so you can type anything random and that will also get printed, guys, because you have given it in double quotes. So I hope you have understood this. And as I told, even if you do not write return zero, this code is supposed to run. So let me just compile and check if it runs. Yes, it runs absolutely fine, right? So in the older versions of the compilers, we had to give a return type for a integer main. So it would not work back then, but now implicitly the compiler will give a return integer so that the code will run appropriately, right? So here you can see without the return type, main is just a normal statement. Okay, just like cout, you can see the color code has changed. But if I let's say I give a return type, let's say void, okay, or integer, okay, any type of return types you want, you can see the color code has changed now. It has become blue, which means that it is changed into a function, right? So that's it, guys. So I hope you've understood what exactly the basics are, why you're using IOStreams, namespace, std, and the main functions. So in the upcoming videos, I'll be telling you what the other important aspects are. Well, I hope you've got the basics of C++, but do try it on your own, guys, because coding is understandable only when you code it on your own, right? So in the next video of ours, we are going to discuss a very important concept related to C++, that is data types. So make sure you subscribe and click on the bell icon so that you'll get notified when the next video is released.